Hey, y'all, it's Letitia with Lighten Up with Letitia. We're here for our weekly recap of Tyler Perry's Divorce Sistas. This is season 1, episode 12, titled Disappearing Acts. So Tiffany is still trying to figure out what is wrong with Geneva, and Javon is acting oblivious and asking questions like, have they seen you dating? And she's like, hold up, we're not dating, we're not serious, I just met you. But he's asking all these questions, and he convinces her that they are not used to seeing her with a man, and so they might be jealous, or Geneva might be jealous. Now, Tiffany claims that her girls are not like that, but the fact is, Naomi still hasn't shown up. And speaking of her and Hakeem pull up at Franklin's house, right? And she gives him the rundown on all the cameras, the neighbors, tells him how to get in, when to come, and how to check the alarm. Now, she is adamant that he does it tonight, and he is adamant that he wants his money, okay? And she tries to give him a blicky, but he has his own, and he still took it, though. Now, he says that he knows, since he's been to jail, he knows how not to go back. But she was like, yeah, also, on top of all of that, I want you to film it. Doc, she's setting you up, bruh. Don't do it, Doc. She's setting you up, sir. Moving on. Now, at the church, Rashida calls Bridget in, and Bridget is right outside the door because she wants the tea on what happened with that conversation with Myron. And so Rashida was like, oh, he's straight. She was like, oh, really? You think that? She was like, okay, well, he's straight about what I told him. I know that's right. Anyway, so she gives Rashida an update on Vaughn as well and stated that she has been strong, but the truth is she is also getting weak right now. So while she didn't let go of Vaughn, she like, listen, she still need that good, and she need to do something. So anyway, she brings up Tiffany, and Rashida, she ain't talking. Then Bridget tells her that Pastor Jeff wanted to talk to her. She was like, girl, why didn't you leave with that? So she leaves to go talk to her husband. She sits in his lap and gives him update on Laz and the morgue situation, or Jeff is giving that update to her. And they convince each other that they're doing good as parents. I won't say another word. Now, he asked about that conversation with his secret admirer. I find it really funny that they joke about this stuff. But I'm like, sometimes, what I always heard back in the day is sometimes cracking is facting. But whatever, moving on. So he says he's not sure how he can continue to work with Myron with all this stuff going on because he has to be able to trust people in order to be comfortable with them. And I'm like, does that mean trust them to do the right thing or trust them to keep your secrets? Okay, moving on. She just suggests that, hey, just try it. And if it doesn't work, then fire him. And so he was like, you always have the great ideas. She was like, oh, that's why you have me. And then she was like, stand back, you're dancing kind of close. I feel a little poke coming through on you. Pastor Jeff is getting he feeling a little holy and horny, he said. And she's like, we're at the church, girl. And instead of breaking her husband off a little something, she brings up the test results for Laz. Okay, so, but the truth is, he was telling the truth, y'all. All he had was that laced up weed in his system. Okay. But still, what was that candy on his dresser? Maybe he just didn't get a chance to use that. But still, we didn't get a test on what those things were. Moving on. Now, then Jeff completely ruins the mood. I don't know why he thought he was about to get something and then bringing up Geneva and William. Talking about, oh yeah, we have dinner reservations with them tonight. Rashida was like, you just don't know what you did. And he was like, you gonna bring me off when you get home? She was like, child, again, you just don't know what you did at this point. So he ain't getting none. Anyway, so Bridget is in the hallway minding her business when Sister Nosy Niecy comes trying to get the tea from her. Child, Niecy is Myron's wife. Now, she bringing up the coffee being thrown on the lady, asking about Vaughn hitting Calvin, and then brought up somebody is divorcing. I'm like, girl, you are a gossipy goose, and Bridget, who also is a gossip, was kind of like, girl, she was taken aback. What you even doing over in this wing? Don't you handle the ministry over there? So she was like, well, I came to take my wonderful husband to lunch. And Myron comes out and was like, basically like, what you doing here? And baby, you should have called first. And baby, I got to decline because the pastor's still here. So he gave her a little peck on the cheek after giving her some fashion advice about her pearls. Anyway, yeah. And then he goes back to work. Now, next thing you know, Deacon Calvin comes to see Bridget, and he tells her that he's thought about it and that he is going to drop the charges with one caveat. He need them damn keys back. So Bridget was like, okay, well, I'll let him know, whatever. He was like, well, Bridget, also, please don't go back to him. Please don't let him come back. And he struggles to tell her something else, but she ain't really trying to listen. And she got a stank attitude right now at this point, too. So he got his little feelings hurt, child, and was like, just forget it. And he leaves out. But I'm like, sir, aren't you married? What do you need to say so bad to Bridget? So then Myron comes in asking what's wrong because he saw Deacon Calvin's face. And she tells him about her frustration. And he was like, well, Calvin need to be worried about his own marriage because it's on the rocks. I mean, they minutes away from divorce. I'm like, so Myron got all the tea, okay? And Bridget was like, okay, let me ask you a question. Does he really be flirting with me? He was like, girl, yes, we can see that. Everybody in the world can see it except you, ma'am. And she's like, he's not even my type. I mean, he seems like he be biting his nails. She literally said that, right? And what was Myron's response to that? He was like, well, first of all, he's going to want something in return for him dropping those charges. And she was like, well, what could he possibly want in return? He was like, I don't know. But you better think about something else. And I was like, no, what you know about that, Myron? Because you be somebody else or something else. Moving on. Okay, so now Tiffany called Rashida looking for Naomi because, again, this child did not show up at her appointment at 11 o'clock. Rashida was like, I'll try to call her, but otherwise I'm going to head on over to Naomi's house. So she was like, please don't tell Jeff. And Tiffany was like, okay, that's cool. I'll meet you over there. Now, Javon comes out to tell Tiffany that basically, child, the deal is off. And not only is the deal off for Naomi, they are going to arrest her on site, and they have revoked the previous bail from the last case, child. So, after all of that, they took care of business, and then he asked her out on a date, and of course, she agreed. And at her house, Tiffany. Now, Geneva then took her behind back to that yoga studio to confront the pretty lady and asked that woman point blank, are you effing my husband? Girl, that woman was like, she was taken aback, but she was like, I knew when you came around the first time this was not about your daughter. She was like, and even Miss Rose told me that you was going to make it to the school. You were supposed to come up to the school, but neither one of us was surprised when you did not show up for the parent-teacher conferences. I was like, ooh, shade. She was like, what makes you think that a woman like me is interested in a middle-aged professor? Child. She was like, I mean, your husband is nice and all, but let me let you take a look at my husband. He's tall, he's black, and he's finer than your husband. Plus, he's good on the inside, too. She said, now hold that thought while I break your face. And she brought her over this box of all of these ideas and suggestions that William asked her and her husband about Italy, because her husband had been stationed there for several years. So they had plenty of suggestions that William can use to woo Geneva. So all this was about was this Italy trip and how much William wanted to romance his wife. But baby William, it's too late. It's too late. Geneva was never really in it like she was supposed to be, child. So anyways, she was like, listen, girl, Geneva, I'm a hold space for your healing. And Geneva was like, F your healing. stormed out and slammed that lady's damn door. Now, Rashida and Tiffany went over to Naomi's place. They just keyed right on in. And of course, she is not there and her phone is still going to voicemail. Now, she doesn't know. So then Rashida calls Geneva and asks about Naomi. And she's basically like, no, I haven't talked to her since this morning. So she said, but I need to talk to you. Rashida figures this and was like, okay, cool. Meet me for lunch. And then she doesn't know though that Tiffany is going to be there for lunch as well. Now, Naomi ended up calling Tiffany like, y'all, you do know I see y'all at my house, right? Why is Naomi on a plane getting ready to go out of town, claiming that she needs to go check on Grayson at college? They are fit to be tied. Like, they're like, girl, are you serious? Like, you had an appointment today at 11 o'clock. Javon, he pulled a lot of favors in order to get you this courtesy. This is why you cannot do favors for any and everybody. So they were like, girl, quit lying anyway. This ain't about Grayson. What are you doing? And so they was like, yeah, your bail has been revoked and they gonna arrest you when they see you, because the judge was expecting to see your behind today. She was like, oh, well, all of that's gonna have to wait till I get back. Girl, she ain't coming back. I don't know why. I don't know why Tiffany was going to bat for Naomi, because she's not coming back. So I don't know what else. They are just irritated. They're like, goodbye, I'm done with her. They go to leave for lunch. And they head to lunch. Geneva comes in and she is surprised to see Tiffany sitting there with Rashida and has a stank attitude instantly. Okay? But Rashida's like, listen, we all need to talk. Now, Geneva still has an attitude, and Tiffany is still asking, girl, what is your problem? Why do you have such a problem with what I do with Javon? And here's Geneva. Javon. Y'all is talking about Javon. And Tiffany was like, you know what? I didn't want to believe it, but he told me that this would happen. She's like, what? That you're jealous. I'm not jealous. Jealous of you for what? The truth is, girl, you are jealous. You may not be jealous of Tiffany, but you're jealous of the relationship that Tiffany has with Javon right now, because she has that man's attention, or at least it perceived it to be that way, and you don't, even though you want his attention. Okay. So anyway, she was like, I have a husband, but you don't want that husband, so don't act like, oh, you having William is such a prize, because you don't even want William. Now, Rashida's like, y'all both need to just tell each other the truth. Now, Tiffany's like, I'm telling the truth. Geneva's the one that's not telling the truth. And so she was like, I don't understand why you have such an issue with what I do with Javon. And here's Geneva. You're right. I shouldn't be bothered about what you got going on with Javon. So she gets up to leave, claiming that she needs to attend to her daughter. And Tiffany was like, oh, so now you want to worry about your daughter? Geneva is so stunned, got an attitude. Oh my gosh. She had a fit, told Tiffany, F you, and she stormed out. Now, Tiffany is apologetic about it, but I don't know why. I feel like I wouldn't be apologetic, girl. Whatever. War is on now because you've been acting crazy for the last couple of days, and I still don't know why. So she also senses that Rashida is holding back on her as well. So she was like, she lost her appetite. She decided to leave as well, rolled out. Okay. And here go Rashida. This is not First Lady Coochie business. Now, I thought that was funny. But baby, if you had been giving your coochie to the pastor in that office, you wouldn't be sitting here at this disaster of a lunch. But moving on. Okay. Now, Javon has the freaking nerve, gall, and audacity to show up at William's house to check on him and check on Anika. And William is just drinking the day away. And he offers him a drink, which I'm thinking like, okay, cool. He's trying to get some DNA on him. But Javon declines. Now, he's asking about Anika, talking about he's still going to buy that house across the street from them. And then William asked him, did you hear what the doctor said? Here goes Javon. He was just out of earshot and he didn't hear. I think he is lying. You know, we talked about it on the panel. I totally think that he heard exactly what was said. This man brought up that steak again. Do you want me to help you out with steak? I think you and Geneva are doing fine. You guys are doing okay. This man is so disrespectful. I wanted William to come across that table on him, but I feel like William is playing it cool right now because he's still doing his research. But when he finds out that it is Javon, or maybe it's not Javon, he gonna have a whole fit. Now, William is talking about the fact that they're going to be meeting with the pastor and the first lady tonight. And then Javon was like, do you mind if I take a peek in on Anika? Because, I mean, kids can never have too many prayers. This man is a psycho. Period. Now, Geneva is still angry going to the office and Rashida is behind her. And she was like, is this what you guys really think about me, that I'm a bad mom? She's like, no, we don't think that about you. But in truth, girl, Geneva, this is all your conscience talking, okay? This is you feeling guilty about not doing what you're supposed to be doing. So, she was like, I know this is hurting you. She's like, Tiffany's not hurting you. No, but Javon is. Javon is hurting you. So Rashida is like, Javon is the devil and he is pitting the ladies against each other. And the truth is, she is jealous. Geneva is jealous. And Javon is also putting all of them in a very compromising situation right now. So Rashida's advice, girl, tell the truth. Be honest. But Geneva finally admits that she is not ready. And I'm like, how are you a whole attorney and can't handle high pressure situations? That's really weird to me. So anyway, she brings up the dinner with the two couples and she claims that if William finds out about her secret, that her whole life was over. Just being so extra dramatic. And Rashida's like, well, it happened 6 years ago. It's not going to happen again, right? But girl, didn't she just tell you she was in love with the man, with Javon? How would it not happen again? I don't get that. Now, back at the church, Myron comes into Pastor Jeff's office to tell him that he has made his dinner reservations, and he asked if there was anything else. And so Myron was like, yes, I do have something else. And then they cue the dramatic music. He doesn't want what has happened to come between them. He feels like he's losing his best friend. And Jeff is like, I'm your boss. I'm not your best friend. And now that I know you have feelings for me, now it's strictly business. No more late night chats on flights. Now we're taking separate flights. I was like, that sounded more like no more late night creeps, no more VIP, no more dough. We can't even kick it no more. Okay, so anyway. And honestly, I felt like the reason why Jeff said this is because he is well aware that these cameras are in his office. And it's a way of punishing Myron for him letting all this information get out. But whatever. So Rashida came to get Jeff and they leave out, and now Myron is in the hallway crying. Child, Bridget comes up to comfort him, but she was like, listen, you just need to let it go. You need to snap out of it. If you got feelings for him, okay, so what? He's not holding it against you. Rashida's not holding it against you. And then next thing you know, nosy Nisi come out of nowhere and was like, now what now? What was said? And he's like, honey. But I'm like, now, Nisi, how you know the gossip about everybody but your own husband? So that was our recap. Don't forget to join us on the live panel discussion every Thursday evening where we talk about it with the crew. And don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, child, woo-wee, holla.